Alright, welcome back to Duty's Daggers. Today we're doing a really exciting cut test on a very nice knife. This is the Herman Sting. Herman is a Polish knife maker, and this is kind of pretty highly regarded as, top of the line folding knife. Titanium frame with really awesome milling pattern on it. L-Max blade steel on this version, and kind of a bronzed finish on that titanium. The factory edge is good, but it's a very kind of bitey edge. It's not the type of edge that passes through paper super easily. You can see it definitely is, but as the test progresses, you will see it's got, it bites into wood really nicely. It's just not that fine of an edge, just really bitey. So you could change that if you wanted to, put your own edge on it and get it a little bit finer. Now, I will say there's one really big issue with the knife, and you're going to watch me discover that in real time here as we start testing. We're going to cut strips. We're going to cut all this cardboard here. Don't know how many cuts that is, but it is a pretty good amount. Now, this thing does have relatively thick blade stock for a folding knife, but it's a full flat grind, and it's nice and thin behind the edge. So, those factors all combined make this a nice slicer. It's passing through this cardboard real easily. If it looks like I'm getting snagged, that is because I'm getting stuck in the sharpening choil. The flipper tab kind of acts as a finger guard, so that cardboard never touched my finger, which is kind of nice in a way. But also you can't stick your finger in there to stop it from going in the sharpening choil either. So, if the cardboard slides back towards your hand a little bit and gets caught in the sharpening choil, it just stops you from cutting and you have to kind of reposition. Pretty ergonomic. The only thing that is kind of a hot spot is the clip. It's kind of positioned up towards the back of the knife rather kind of in the middle. And I don't notice it as a hot spot cutting the cardboard here, but later on when I'm kind of doing some whittling on wood, I start to feel it a little bit. But overall, really good ergonomics. It's a pretty thick handle. It really fills out your hand super nicely. So I'd say it cut the cardboard very nicely. Now we're going to get out our cutting board and do a little bit of a spine whack test. Haven't done this yet. And my heart sank. I could not believe it. It was such a light tap. Such a light tap, man. Ugh. So disappointing. Really, really heartbreaking. Man, if it was, even if I had to really whack on it to get it to fail, I would feel a little better, but it's such a light little tap that gets it to pop the lock. If I get it in the right spot, I can just do it over and over again. Look. Super disappointing. I'm going to continue the testing. But I can tell you that for me, I would be pretty nervous carrying this knife and using it. I'm going to be real careful for the rest of the test here. And a little bit later on in the video, I try to kind of come up with a scenario where it could happen in real life, where it would fail on you. And I think I have a pretty good case of it definitely being able to happen. So keep watching to see that. So for now, let's just continue the testing. Utility cutting's doing pretty good. It's a nice drop point blade, low tip, but you have the belly also, so kind of good mix of both of those. Cecil rope. It's going to be a good blade shape for Cecil rope. Start with the tip, rock back, all that good stuff. Not hitting your knuckles on the cutting board. It's chopping the stuff very nicely. It's just sad that you know, I can't. I would be very hesitant to buy another Herman after this, after seeing it fail like that. I would want to. I don't know. If I was buying a different model, maybe if I watched some videos of people testing them and saw that they were fine, maybe, but I don't know. Let's cut up this leather glove here. Let's roll it up and make some sushi rolls. There you go. Passing through it very well. Lots of layers of lots of layers of leather in there. All right, what do we got next? Let's try this double strap. Let's try cutting this. Cut through it pretty fast. It did leave a pretty good amount of fraying, and I think that's just because of the kind of more of a bitey edge. But it's definitely cutting it quickly. At least pretty quickly. Let's see what our edge is looking like. Yeah, it's still cutting paper. A little bit of a coarser cut. Don't notice any hot spots so far. Let's try the 2-inch strap. See if we can get through it in one cut. Pretty close, 7/8 of the way through. One more time. Actually, 2 more times. A little bit less that time. And third time, about the same. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Action still feels great. Still unlocking very easily. I'm going to get a piece of wood here and do a little bit of chopping and some whittling. And then I'm going to try to recreate a scenario where this could possibly close on you and hurt you while you're using it. I'm going to put both my cut-proof gloves on for this. Probably should have been wearing them the whole time, but at least I have them on now. Let's get to chopping. This thing is biting into the wood really, really well. Like, it's kind of nuts how deep this thing was going into the wood. just huge chunks. And you can feel it just wanting to go deeper and deeper into the wood. It's pretty cool. Very fun. Almost felt like this was balsa wood or something, like I was carving away butter. Try it without the glove, see how the ergos are for this. And here's where I do notice a bit of a hot spot with the clip. Not too bad, but if I was doing this for an extended amount of time, I would definitely be feeling it. Definitely would want a glove. But that's going to be hard to notice just day to day. And you can see it's just because the clip is kind of up towards the back of the knife there. So let's say you were whittling on this piece of wood. You're done with your stroke, and you come back to make another cut, and you accidentally hit the spine of the knife on the wood. I could see that pretty easily happening. You cut, you come back at a weird angle, you hit the spine on something, and it slams shut on your fingers. And, I'm definitely trying to do it right here. But just the fact that it can do it, that it can close that easily with that light of a tap, would really, it would always be in the back of my head when I would carry this knife. It would always be something I needed to think about and be careful with. And for me, that's not acceptable in my knives, because usually when I'm using my knives, I practice safety with a knife, but I expect it to do what it's supposed to do. I'm not prepared for a knife failing on me, because they don't do that. They're not supposed to do that. So if I know that a knife can fail, it just it ruins the knife, Even though it might never happen, it's another thing I need to be thinking about while I'm using the knife and being careful with. So to me, that's unacceptable. Cutting some zip ties here. It blazed through the regular zip ties. Let's try a thicker one here. Holding it in reverse grip. Pretty comfortable with gloves on. Couple tries to get through it here. There we go. Let's do some stabbing. See if this kind of motion would disengage the lock. Doing a little bit of wiggling with the tip in the wood. Make sure it's not snapping off super easily. Seems pretty solid in this, at least in this. And that's about it. There you go, folks. A very, very nice knife with an incredible detent, incredible action, amazing craftsmanship. The smoothness and tolerances on this knife seem to be really tight and, done very well. It cuts great. It's a very versatile blade shape. It's a sexy knife. It's a beautiful looking knife, The clip, I think, is a little bit long and creates a tiny bit of a hot spot. That's really my only nitpick with the knife. besides that it can disengage with a light tap on the spine, of course. If we forget about that for a minute, this thing is awesome. This is really awesome. This is kind of one of the base models, and they go for around $650, $750-ish. And, that's a lot of money for someone to buy it and use it as a work knife, but you absolutely could. This would be a good work knife if it didn't fail. So there you go, folks. Please like the video before you head out, and I would appreciate it very much. See you soon.